Hey, what's up, everybody? It is your friend Keith with Mr. Jack Edwards of Piston. We are here live in the control room in Essex Recording Studios, just outside London in Southend-on-Sea, England. Jack, what have you brought us today, man?
I have brought you my 1960s Vox.
This thing is not just any 1960s Vox, though.
No, so I bought this off my friend Mike, and he used to play in the Californians. And they had loads of top 10 hits back in the day, in the 60s, and he was on tour with Jimi Hendrix. This was his main amp that he used to use, and while on tour, Jimi Hendrix played through this very amp.
That is so cool. So your buddy, he owns a major music shop as well.
Yes.
Here in the UK, and I was reading about this amp specifically, the Defiant. This was Vox's, I think, first solid state amplifier, and the Beatles made it super popular.
Yeah.
And your buddy was a huge George Harrison fan, and this was like the latest technology, obviously made in the UK, in Dartford, Kent, not too far from where we are right now. But yeah, this was the amp to have in 1967, and the Californians went on tour with Jimmy. I think they did like 25 dates or something across the UK.
Cat Stevens as well.
Big names. I mean, people that went on to become massive.
So I remember when I went to the shop, I sort of saw this beast in the corner, and I was a little bit scared to play through it. But when
Was it for sale, or was it just sitting there?
No, it was just sat there. It was just Mike's. And I played through it, and I really liked it. And then it took a little bit of convincing for him to.
He didn't want to part ways with it. I'm surprised he did. That's pretty amazing.
And then now it's mine, and we've used it on the record and stuff. We used it on a few songs on the last Piston record, and
hey, there's the record right there. We have it up here.
It's very powerful. It sounds vintage. You know, it's exactly what you'd expect.
It's your 1967 English rock sound.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Now, for your settings, what do you typically... I know we just messed around with the knobs a whole bunch here, but you're usually on this channel here?
On the normal channel, and with the foot switch, you can engage the distortion as well, which sounds pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes I'll run an overdrive pedal with it, and that's where you can really hit the sweet spots. But it takes very well to pedals. It really likes them, which is nice.
What pedals do you like using with this?
I use a Love pedal overdrive with this amp, and it sounds really cool.
Love pedal.
Yeah, but any tube screamer works great. Any overdrive pedal, it responds really well to, fuzzes. I've played through it. It's great. It responds really well to most pedals, which is can't be said for modern amplifiers these days.
And I know he said he had these ATC speakers installed because he wanted just more punch, I guess, for it.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, it's just wild. I was on the JimiHendrix.com website, the actual site run by the estate, by the family, and they even talk about the very day he played through this on a jam session with them.
Yeah, and there's loads of posters about the tours, and it's really cool. And there's a there's a letter wrote from Mike as well, talking about the amp, and that night of Hendrix playing through it, and him jamming with Hendrix, and and the tour that they had together. Yeah,
I mean, this was on every stage that he was on throughout that entire tour. Absolutely. Some major shows. I think they said the opening show was when Jimmy first put the rag covered in gasoline and petrol on the headstock and accidentally lit all the curtains on fire and like took the venue down with it. That's
yeah, it's pretty cool. But it's definitely seen some, it's got some stories in it.
Tell us about some of your stories, because I mean, I first saw you with this amp. It must have been like late, maybe 2016 or early 2017.
Yeah,
something like that.
Then. Yeah, so we recorded some songs with it when we did the first round of the album, and it sounded very good.
Yeah. I remember James having a lot of fun. I think we've got some photos of it with it all mic'd up at the old studio, XX place. Yeah. And tell us a bit about Piston, because you're part of this amp story. We know, obviously, the Californians and Jimi Hendrix have been a part of this story, and it stayed with Californians guy all the way up until you having it. He was the original owner of this thing.
It's quite funny because he played a Gretsch through it as well.
And you're endorsed by Gretsch.
Yeah. So that was that. He played a Gretsch through it, which he modified to make it. I think it was 10 strings. I think he modified it for.
Oh wow!
And then he sold it to me, and then we've been on tour with people like the Cult and Glenn Hughes and had lots of play on Planet Rock, done our own tours, and yeah, and then I've played Mike Brookes through it as well. So
Yeah, man. I mean, you're what was I gonna say? I saw you right before lockdown. You were in loads of magazines. You were with Billy Duff and
yeah,
um.
yeah.
Which magazine was it? Total Guitar that had you?
Was in a few.
Yeah.
We had Total Guitar. We was in Music Radar. We had a big 6-page spread in Total Guitar.
That was really cool.
Best new guitarist. Music Radar polls.
Man, you were smashing it.
Yeah.
And obviously, you know, for those in America, Planet Rock is our biggest rock radio station in this country. Radio in the UK is a little bit different than how it is in the States.
Yeah.
You've got national level radio stations. It's not like in the States where each town, each city has its 1 or 2 rock stations, its top 40 station, its country station. You'll have Planet Rock, and like that's it for the whole country, 65 million people.
Pretty much. And there's Radio 2. Been on Radio 2 a bunch of times as well.
Now, Radio 2 is the largest radio station in Europe. I think by the numbers to where it broadcasts out. It's obviously based here in the UK, but Radio 2 and Planet Rock over here on the across the pond, that is the top of the mountain, and you've been playlisted on it, and it's been amazing, man.
Yeah.
Very, very cool, and it's all through this amp.
Yeah, you can hear this amp on the tracks.
Yeah.
It's very cool, and it sounds great.
Well, now we're coming out of lockdown. What's coming up next for Piston, dude?
We've got let me try and think. So we've got a tour with Bad Touch at the end of the year in November.
Okay.
We've got a couple of tours lined up for next year. We've got an arena show with Thunder.
Wow.
We've got a bunch of festival appearances. All the good stuff in the summer festivals. Praying to God that
that's it. On, you know? I'm hoping we're gonna be open for summer, man.
Yeah. And that's busy from next year. Got a live album coming out in a few months, which is quite fun.
The live album. Are you allowed to say where you did it?
Is
this a secret?
We did it everywhere.
Yeah. No, I was just talking about the event. That there's some very cool imagery I think that you have coming out associated with that.
We've got some cool stuff coming out with that. So we've got that coming out, and we've demoed up album 2, which is really good and exciting. And then we'll get back in the studio, and we will, when things are starting to open back up now, which is nice, and we will record album 2 and go out and talk again.
Yeah, man. Well, we can't wait. It must feel pretty good to be kind of back in the studio environment.
It's nice to be in a new place. I like it.
This is where we did all the mixing for you this last go around.
Yeah. You guys mixed the live album, which is really cool. And sounds killer.
Yeah, big shout out to James Curtis Thomas,
JCT,
the man. All right, dude. Thank you so much for bringing this in and sharing it with us. We will get some demo videos coming up very, very soon.
And it can be in the hands of a great player.
Yeah. Well, from one to the next. That's just tremendous heritage behind this thing. There's not many pieces of gear that are already, like, by default, an amazing piece of gear. But the fact that it's been played by the God, the man himself, Jimi Hendrix, very few pieces with the full provenance to back it up have ever been made available to the public.
And what is nice is that it's only ever had, well, technically 2 owners, including me. It was with Mike since he was, a teenager all the way up until through. He was an older man, and then he sold it to me, and then
that's it. So it is available. It is on reverb.com. It'll be on our website, EssexRecordingStudios.com. We're revamping our website over the next week. We're going to get it on the old eBay as well. And this can be shipped to absolutely any country in the world.
And it's built
guys.
like a tank.
It is definitely built like a tank.
We've got the old school foot switch with it as well.
And we have the old school foot switch.
You'll be able to see in the picture.
And you'll get the letter. If you look at the listing, there's way more information in the letter. Several pages long. All the old tour posters like you're talking about. Looks incredible. And it's so interesting seeing the Californians and Jimi. They were billed like right next to each other on every poster.
Yeah,
really,
cool.
Really cool. Awesome, guys. Here's the old serial number plate on the back. This one's serial number 2017, 100 watts. And then down here,
I gotta say, it's probably more powerful than most amps I've ever played through, to be honest, as well. It's cool.
I remember how loud this thing was when we were doing the record, man.
The windows.
It was awesome. And I mean, just a cool, not only an amazing piece of recording gear, just like a cool piece of art. Like what a neat installation to have at your house, in a museum, in whatever you've got, a lobby of a super ritzy rock and roll hotel. This thing is incredible.
It's got some stories in it. It's in some sites for sure.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, we're going to say goodbye. Thanks for hanging out with us.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
We can't wait to see more Piston. What are the socials so people can follow you?
Facebook.com, Piston UK, and PistonUK.com. Everything's on there.
That's it. So Instagram as well, and Spotify. Hop on the Spotify.
Yeah, have a listen to us on Spotify. Piston Music on Instagram. But if you go on our website, PistonUK.com,
you'll see it all. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you later.
See you later.